So you went to school for acting, but when or how did you catch the theater bug, Atticus, if you want to take that?
That is a very funny story. So my best friend when I was a little kid, I was 10 years old, was in a youth theater production of Peter Pan. And I went to see it, and in the program it said next year they were doing The Music Man. And I grew up knowing The Music Man very well. The CD was always on in the car. So I saw that was happening next year, and I was like, okay, I could do that. This looks fun. I'll do that when that comes around next year. Whole year later, I've kind of forgotten about it, but my parents didn't. So when the time came to audition, and for this company you had to do a song and a monologue, they really pushed me to audition. And my parents had generally been pretty hands-off about what my brother and I could choose to do or not to do. So the way they were pushing felt uncomfortable to me, and it felt different. And the idea of getting up and singing in front of people was the most horrifying thing I'd ever imagined in my life. So I screamed and I shouted and I said, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to audition. I hid behind our living room chair. I was weeping. And then as the night went on and as they backed off and realized that maybe pushing it wasn't such a good idea, I warmed to the idea. I remember saying, into the evening, I'm 30% sure I'm going to do it tomorrow. Like an hour later, I'm 60% sure I'll audition. So I sang Crocodile Rock, stared at the wall, as my dad said to do if you don't want to be nervous or look anyone in the eye, read a monologue off a piece of paper, and played townsperson number 1.
Yeah, you did.
That's amazing.
Caught the bug pretty immediately.
That's so great.
Yeah,
That's a great story.
And the rest is history, Yeah.
Leah, how about you?
So I grew up in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I remember I think one of the first productions I saw was a touring production of Cats that came to Hawaii. And it happened in the Blaisdell Arena Hall, which is this huge kind of convention center, giant theater. And I think I was very, very far in the back, and I was probably maybe 5 or so. I was very young. And I remember the first performer, dancer, obviously a cat, came on stage, and I was like, oh my God, that's a real cat up there. And I loved cats. And then I realized it was a person, and they were just moving so realistically as a cat, and that sold me.
Match made in heaven.
So from that moment on, I kind of got into voice lessons and acting lessons, and yeah, the rest was history.